A look at the evidence. The best evidence for Bigfoot. Over the years, people have cataloged all sorts of evidence for Bigfoot, including prints made by feet, hands, and even a couple of bottoms. Evidence includes audio recordings of Sasquatch shrieks and video recordings of squatches on the move. Although no evidence is as compelling as an actual Bigfoot, the best that's been gathered over the years is fascinating and guarantees you'll always have something meaty to talk about with your friends at lunch. As mystery meat goes, Bigfoot is much more palatable than what they serve in the cafeteria. Note, there is no evidence whatsoever anywhere to suggest school cafeterias serve Bigfoot meat in their food. The Hairy Man pictographs. Plenty of people believe Bigfoot is a made-up creature, a hoax from the 1950s meant to pull the legs of gullible loggers. Even if every sighting of a Bigfoot since then is a hoax, it's hard to explain painted rock. This is a 500 to 1,000-year-old archaeological site in California's Sierra Nevada range. The Yokut who lived there were called the people of painted rock, Oching Itak, which shows how significant the site was to their culture. Anthropologists believe this cave art was meant to explain the origin of human beings and our various traits. The pictures show a hairy man family with 2 parents and a child. He looks a lot like Bigfoot, with shaggy hair, a big human-like body, and a ridge on top of its head known as a sagittal crest. The traditional Yokut stories describe the creature as a nocturnal hunter that knocks on wood, whistles, and eats both animals and plants, the same as many modern accounts. White people first described the site in 1889, and a tribal elder living there identified the creatures depicted as hairy men long before any of the famous California Bigfoot sightings occurred. While it is true that no fossils of North American apes have been found, it's hard to dismiss the significance of ancient pictures of apes in Native American sites, especially when these pictures are meant to explain how human beings came to walk on 2 feet. Tribal lore is full of real animals these people witnessed: crows, eagles, lizards, owls, coyotes, condors. So if they did not see a hairy man, what inspired this creature? What's more, First Nations art includes ceremonial masks and carved stones that resemble apes. What would their model be if there were no North American apes? As fascinating as these paintings are, so are the parallels between First Nations lore and real behavior of apes in the wild. Kathy Moskowitz-Strain, an archaeologist for the U.S. Forest Service, has written about the pictographs and the accompanying tales in a book called Giants, Cannibals, and Monsters: Bigfoot and Native Culture. As typical narratives go, parents warn their kids not to swim in the river at night, lest they run into Bigfoot. They also warn that a hungry Bigfoot who can't find other animals to eat might choose to dine on children, something chimpanzees have been known to do in the wild when they can't find enough food in the forest. Spotted. Honored by Bigfoot. Brenda Leask, her cousin, and her aunt were out deer hunting, and her cousin had just blown a deer call when a tall, hairy creature stepped out from behind a tree. It was so big, she said, estimating its height at over 8 feet. I couldn't believe what I just saw. Momentarily stunned into silence, she and her cousin finally acknowledged what had just happened. We were there about 5 minutes, she said, and we told my aunt, we've got to go. But it wasn't a traumatic experience. Leask is a member of the Tlingit tribe, and her clan's history is tied to the Sasquatch itself. You feel honored to have had this creature show itself to you. It was such a profound moment in my life. Bossberg Tracks. A little town in Stevens County, Washington, has played a big part in the hunt for Bigfoot evidence. Its name is Bossberg, and it lies on the east bank of the mighty Columbia River, not too far south of the Canadian border. It's a ghost town now, and it was never big, just 800 people at its peak. But it was an interesting place to be late in 1969, when the first of some very curious Bigfoot tracks appeared. A couple of things made them stand out. First, they were near a garbage dump, an unusual thing for a normally reclusive Bigfoot. Second, these footprints revealed something sad and stunning. Although the left foot was normal for a Squatch, measuring 17 inches long and 7 inches wide, the creature that made them had a deformed right foot. The bum foot gave the creature its nickname, Cripplefoot, as well as an explanation for what it might be doing so close to people. Because it was injured or deformed, it couldn't make its way in the wilderness. It also gave scientists a reason to take a close look at the prints, which were extremely detailed. One toe was so bent, for example, that it hardly left an impression in the soil. A pair of bumps on the outside edge of the foot revealed the bones there might have been broken. John Napier, a famous primate expert from the Smithsonian Institution, believed the deformity almost guaranteed the tracks were authentic. A look at the evidence.